It's coming home. England beat Germany 2-0. Get in. Immediate post-match reaction. Literally, the game has just finished, and what a brilliant, what a fantastic, perfect result for England. Let's talk about the match very quickly. Before I do that, subscribe, like, share the channel. You know the drill. Let's get into the first half, shall we? Let's start from the start. Actually, let's start from the pre-start. The lineup, I was incredibly shocked and scared by. You guys all know my thoughts and feelings on the back three, back five with this current England squad, because centre half is our weakest position, but Kyle Walker can obviously play there. But I understand the mentality from Southgate. He wanted to match up Germany's back three, back five. And I don't know how much the formation contributed to England winning the game eventually, but I do think that it did sort of contribute. I hope it isn't used further forwards in the tournament, because and we'll get into it properly, but I do think there are some genuine frailties in that formation that this England side can't really cope with at this moment in time. So I'm hoping it was more of a just for Germany to match them up, and obviously it worked this time around, but I'm not sure if it would work in the later stages of the tournament. You know, if and when England get to the final. So one of the reasons why I'm buzzing, one of the main stats, again we'll get into the match in a moment, but England, because I actually looked up, because I thought to myself, when was the last time England beat like a big nation in a major tournament, like at the Euros or a World Cup? Because like in recent years they just haven't. They've just underperformed. Like even at the World Cup, they got to the semi-finals. They didn't beat anyone. They didn't play anyone. They played Belgium twice and they lost twice. And I looked up, and the last time was in 2002 against Argentina, and it wasn't even like an overly strong Argentina. They still had some good players in it, like, you know, Pochettino, Samuel Crespo, but realistically, on paper, that was the last time England beat a big nation in an international tournament, 19 years ago. And last time they beat Germany in an international tournament, obviously 1966 was the last time that happened. Is it an omen? I don't know, but it's just a fact. So getting into the game, that was my, sorry, go back to the lineup one more time. The fact that Sterling and Saka were starting, I could understand the Sterling one because he's been England's only goal scorer so far. Saka one, he had a good game against Czech Republic, but I still didn't really understand why he was in ahead of either Grealish or Foden, or maybe even Sancho, but never mind. And in the first half, I was proven totally wrong, because Sancho played really well, especially in the opening around 30 minutes or so. He was really good. Like, he was winning free kicks. He was very direct. He was dribbling great. The German defenders couldn't really handle him at times. But there were times in the first half, the first 10 minutes, Germany were all over England. I think the possession was something like 70% to Germany. And there was a point where John Stones, because he wants to play on the front foot, tried to intercept, just missed it totally, and Rice was forced to take down Goretzka, and there was a dangerous free kick. So the opening 10 minutes were a bit scary, but then England worked their way back into the game. They calmed down a little bit, they chilled out a little bit, and I thought England actually just edged it in the first half. It was incredibly even. Obviously, it ended 0-0. Timo Werner did have a really good chance to convert, but Timo Werner does what Timo Werner does, and he does not score. Pickford was able to save it. Like I said, Saka played well. I thought Sterling played very well as well. And then, like, in the last minute of the first half, Harry Kane, I have no idea what he was doing. I understand it wasn't the easiest chance in the world, but all he has to do is, like, control it on his left, or maybe even, if he can manage, try to hit it first time on his left maybe, but he was clearly trying to control it on his left, take it onto his right and bend it in. But the touch on the left foot was woeful for a player of his quality, and the chance just went begging. And it just asked even more questions, from me anyway, of what is happening with you, Harry Kane? What's going on? And there were also at least one or two, maybe even three instances where one ball by Germany was able to bypass basically the entirety, on the ground as well, not even over the top, was able to bypass all of England's midfield, and it just went straight to mainly Timo Werner. He made a lot of good runs, even though I jokingly said he missed a chance against Pickford. He was making some very dangerous runs. So that was something that I kept noticing, England being their biggest weakness, and I think that might be a formational thing, because with only two central players, there's obviously less players in there than having a 4-3-3. Obviously, there being three central players, so there's less space to exploit. So I think that might be why. So if England are going to carry on with this 3-4-3, then they do need to, Rice and Phillips both need to communicate a bit better, not only just those two, but also with the defenders, just to make sure that those gaps can't be exploited as easily because the ball was basically always on for Germany. Fortunately, they weren't able to convert, but there you go. In the second half, it was pretty much the same for the opening exchanges. Both teams relatively conservative in their play, apart from Havertz nearly scoring an outrageous goal into the roof of the net, but for Pickford with a really good save. He's never really let England down. He's been sort of like stop and start for Everton last season and just generally as well, but he's never really let England down, and once again, really good save following up on his good save in the first half from Werner. Substitutions were made. Jack Grealish came on for Saka. That was the right decision for me. And the ovation that Grealish got was really good because everyone wants to see Grealish play. And then, I think it was around the 80th minute, you could tell it was dangerous. England picked it up in midfield. Sterling, again, really good play by him, driving forwards. Plays it off to Kane. He plays it off to Grealish. Shaw, and begging him, cross it. And you ask and you shall receive. Luke Shaw puts in a perfect ball. And who is there to tap it in? Raheem Sterling. And that was his third goal at these Euros, and the third goal scored for England. And I went mental. I was so happy. Not only obviously for Sterling, because again, there is this weird scapegoating agenda against Sterling, which I really don't like. But obviously just mad happy that it was the 80th minute. You're hoping that England are going to win. Here we go, Sterling into Harry Kane. It's a really good central position. Here's Jack Grealish now. Luke Shaw, play it in, but it's Raheem Sterling! Yes! And Raheem Sterling has scored for England! And it's a goal! England, come on! Oh! A couple minutes later, heart in mouth, because Muller... How's Muller missed that? I think actually, in fairness, I think Sterling did give it away. But Pickford came out. Pickford came running out, whereas Walker probably would have got to it in like another half second. So I don't understand why Pickford came out, but it was the right decision ultimately because it forced Muller's hand. He took the shot and he dragged it wide. So unlike Thomas Muller, you really expect him to score those, but he didn't. That's all that matters. And then later on in the game, Jack Grealish picks up the ball. Again, brilliant cross as he did against, who was it? Czech Republic. And Harry Kane gets on the end of it. Lovely header, just onside. And I'm so happy for him to get a goal. That would do his confidence a world of good, knowing that he's just got a goal at these Euros. Brilliant stuff. They go into the quarterfinals against either Sweden or Ukraine. I would expect Sweden from that. England beat them in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Sweden have played well. However, England should have too much quality for them. Should, obviously, because France went out yesterday. Haven't even done a video on that. Just haven't had time. But France went out. Netherlands went out. Just haven't had time to do those videos, unfortunately. But those matches were absolutely wild as well. England should beat Sweden. And then in the semi-final, worst case scenario is it's Denmark in the semi-final for England. And again, yes, they were impressive against Wales. However, England should be beating Denmark. They just should be beating Denmark, especially without Christian Eriksen, their talisman in the side. England just should have too much for them. And then, realistically, that route to the final is about as easy as you could have hoped. Honestly. Again, people saying England should have finished second in the group. No, absolutely not. For all the reasons we've discussed in previous videos. But clearly, it's that decision to, or the reality of finishing first is paying dividends. And England should get to a final. But then again, they should have got to a final in 2018. But I think this squad is better in terms of quality. I think they've got more experience now. I think Southgate's got more experience as a manager. He's once again just proving me and everyone else wrong. And I love being proven wrong when it goes in my favour. I do still think it will be an Italy versus England final, especially with France being knocked out, Spain not looking too good, and with Belgium not having De Bruyne or Hazard in the quarter final against Italy. So I really do see it being an England-Italy final, which would be so exciting. I kind of just the idea of it's like mental, but let's not get too complacent. We can obviously enjoy the moment right now, but it's not a given that England will get to the final, even though they should get to the final. But we can enjoy the moment. Thank you so much for watching. Do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the channel with someone you know if you have already subscribed. That is the best way to help this channel grow and help out your boy. We're approaching 100 subscribers, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for a YouTuber, like the first 1,000 or so I've been told, is like the hardest bit to get over. So that's the first real target to get in there. So no idea when we'll get, if and when we'll get that, but hopefully we can. Eat, skeet, delete. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.